Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Flames. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. The second half of the season is here, and it's time to lay it all on the line with realistic expectations for this Calgary Flames team.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Jess Belmosto of the Metropolitan Rivers PR team, and of course, a plethora of blogs covering the NHL for the past 5 or 6 years now. So how are you today? I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for making Locked On Flames your first listen of the day, and you can find us anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, and hopefully we're among the favorites here. Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Audible, YouTube, free 99 on all of them. And why wouldn't you want to hang out with us every day? So let's get into this. And what we saw right before the break is sustainable and has to carry through April, May, and heck, maybe even June. The Flames are currently ranked number 1 in power rankings on MoneyPuck. And I don't think I ever thought I'd see that this season, We talk a lot about managing those expectations and how wildly different this team is from last year. And I think the expectations maybe should have been flip-flopped in terms of, the level of success that we thought we'd see and whatnot. But this team is playing well. Up and down the roster, everyone is on the same page, the same book, the same line, the same word, and they're working together. There's consistency here. This team plays such a repetitive game that it makes it so much fun to watch. Their shooting percentage is still a little low with an 8.8%, with that league average around 9.5%. So they do have to work on that, but there's a very simple solution to that, and I will tell you how. Just shoot the puck. I think that this team does lack confidence occasionally when it comes to shooting, and they overpass it, or they kind of get in their own heads. And Mangiapane right now currently leads the team with a 19.6 shooting percentage. And then there's a huge gap between him and Milan Lucic at number 2 with a 15. And there has really, I don't understand, how this team is doing so well when, not all, some of their underlying numbers are a little bit of a red flag. Especially when you have such a big gap like that. I think that is definitely something to look at. And we'll talk about more about how they can improve on that in the next segment and what the actual solution and remedy to that low shooting percentage is. And to have your second person be Milan Lucic and not someone like Johnny Gaudreau or Matthew Tkachuk is a little concerning. Because, we saw Sean Monahan last year with a low shooting percentage. I'm pretty sure it was the lowest of his career, if I remember correctly, with a 12.6. And that makes sense because he was injured. But, you have a fully healthy roster right now. So there's no reason why this team shouldn't be shooting the puck more. One thing that is just something that they are going to be able to continue doing is these cut, copy, and paste repetitive games. Nick, I'm going to butcher his last name, Zarius. If I butchered that, I'm so sorry. Nick from Upper Bowl GM had me on earlier this week, and we had a really nice conversation about this game and just the Flames game in general this season. And Daryl Sutter had a trial period when he came in the bubble season, or it wasn't the bubble, it was the North Division, and he was able to kind of look at this team and say, wow, this is where they're at. This is where I want them to be. Here's what I need to do. So he had the summer to work with that. And he gave them a very simple task. They play a very repetitive game. Like I said, it's a cut, copy, paste game. You know what you're getting Monday night, and you know what you're going to get Wednesday night, and you know what you're going to get 2 weeks from now because of how repetitive it is. And it's not repetitive in a bad way. I think that, when you talk about like a football team, them running the same plays and the same routes are obviously like, that's easy to read. The Flames are easy to read, and people are going to want to emulate their game so they can play the same style and be up to par. The amount of defenders they have on this team and, just how in your face they are. They're kind of like the little mosquito when you're sitting out by the fire during the summer. Like, they're in your face and they're going to have their opponents cornered, and eventually they force a turnover or generate a takeaway. Or sorry, not a takeaway, a giveaway. Like they're able to do something and really create these chances that is strong playoff hockey. And I think that one thing that they have going for them is just their strong two-way forwards. Their goaltending is fantastic, and I know Jacob Markstrom is in just a league of his own when it comes to talking about the goalies, especially in the Western Conference. But I think that their defense has gotten it together too. Noah Hannafin has had a fantastic year, and he's sliding under the radar. The same with, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Nikita Zadorov and Eric Goodbranson. They have elevated their gameplay to where they should be at. And I hope that they continue this on Wednesday night when the Golden Knights come into town and they're able to play it back up to par after, a week off or what have you. And this is just a very easy thing that the Flames can do and can continue to do over these next few months. And the playoffs, obviously they haven't they haven't like mathematically secured a spot in the playoffs, but it's looking like they'll secure a spot. And I think that, this team has to be playoff ready. When the time comes, they have to be ready. They have to be healthy. They're going to have to play that repetitive game against those opponents. And of course, they're going to just need to get their chances up when it comes to generate scoring. How can we make sure that that happens? How can we be sure that that happens? And we are going to talk about that next. But first, let's talk about Primal Origin oils. Do you have a beard, or do you know someone who has a beard? I think beards are pretty neat, and especially with playoff hockey coming right around the corner. I know we're all going to be, I say we're all, like as if I have one. We're all going to be growing out our beards and giving, the best shot that we have at our playoff beards. So the products from Primal Origin oils are free from harmful synthetic ingredients, and they have low impact on our planet. So they're ethically sourced. And all of the products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the US. They have these amazing combo kits that will make for great graduation presents, Father's Day presents, birthday presents, you name it. And you can get it on primaloriginsoil.com. And make sure that you use promo code Locked On at checkout for 20% off. And we know that every company claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oil challenges you to compare their ingredients and the feel of your beard to the other products you've used. We promise you will see a difference and feel the difference. That's promo code Locked On, 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Thank you so much for tuning into Locked On Flames today. I hope you're having a good day, and make sure you follow me on Twitter so we can keep this conversation going, and I always love hearing from you. The trade deadline is right around the corner. That's the first stop before the playoffs, and that's kind of where you're able to gauge where your team thinks they're at. What can Brad Treliving do to ensure a playoff run? Now, everyone gets nervous around the trade deadline, right? Because you don't know what your team's going to sell, what they're going to buy. Are they truly picturing themselves as a playoff team? Are they more nervous about something long-term, short-term, a rental, just shipping off money so they can figure something else out during the off season. And Calgary fans have plenty to be nervous about this trade deadline, because Gaudreau always does this thing with his social media where he takes Calgary out of his bio and kind of gives fans a little heebie-jeebies, and it's always him going back east, or the team is going to miss out on like the hottest target on the market. Like, it's one or the other. So you pick your poison. But I think the expectation is to make it out of the playoffs, out of the first round. You want to have playoff success this year. Your team is built for success, but there is that one factor missing: the person who's going to shoot the puck. You have very strong two-way forwards. There's no reason to go after another one of those. They have plenty of that, and too many cooks spoil the soup, or whatever the saying is. But they need someone who is not afraid to shoot the puck. They have about $5 million in cap space, and I think that they just they have to go forward and make an effort to find someone who, number one, look at somebody who is familiar with advanced stats. Hire JJ from the Barn Burner, and he will help you with that. And just take a look at what you need. Like, if I can see it, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to see it either. And to have someone on the team who can generate, those scoring chances and create more high danger chances and things like that, like, that's what the Flames need. They need someone who is not going to overthink and get in their own head, overpass, and just not shoot the puck. Like, they just need someone who's going to shoot the puck. Easy as that. And yes, of course, defense wins you championships, or so they say. No, it really does. But I think the Flames defense is fine where it is right now. I do. And I think, again, if they keep going out and play those repetitive games that they have been, they'll be fine. They will. But why would you not greenlight shipping off prospects and draft picks, or a roster player? Obviously not like a big name roster player, but like Dylan Dubé. Love him, but I think his time in Calgary is done. But to give you something that will elevate your team to get you through April. April, they just need to get out of the first round. That they need to. There's no excuse for it this year. And this team, I've said it, I feel like I've said it a million times on this show, but something about this team just feels very special. There's a special chemistry here. There's a special talent on the ice that I feel like we haven't seen in years for this team. The coaching is magnificent. There is this hope. There's this magic around the team that reminds me so much of the 2019 Bruins, and it makes me so excited as we head towards the trade deadline. And you know what they did at the trade deadline? They traded Ryan Donato and a third-round pick for Charlie Coyle. And they did something else too, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, Marcus Johansson, who both played pivotal roles in that playoff run. And, you get a long-term deal, you get a rental. So get yourself that forward and make a mad dash for the postseason. And, the expectations are high. I think we saw how the first half of the season played out, and now it's time to just, again, play that repetitive game and get you to the end of the season and go for it. And, I don't think that this team is necessarily like one of the top 5 teams in the league that, can truly consider themselves contenders. But we'll talk more about it next segment. But this team is finally building themselves up to be part of that group. And trade deadline, I think, is March 21st. It's right around the corner. They are so close, you guys. Like, it is unbelievable to see how far this team has come in a year. This time last year, they were getting ready to fire Jeff Ward. Things were bad, and we weren't even a month into the season yet. Now we're starting up the second half of the season. They're ranked number 1 on power rankings on MoneyPuck. People are believing in them. People see this team as genuine talent. They're excited to say, hey, my West Coast team, that's the Calgary Flames. And just kind of just invest in this team. And as my mini market team in Canada, I need them to do something to make their team more attractive to come to. I'm not talking like, GQ attractive. I'm talking competitive, ready to win, ready to, make that mad dash for the postseason, be a team that people want to go to. The first inclination of that was Blake Coleman going to Calgary over Boston. Smaller market in Canada where there's, tax differentials and money differentials and what have you, versus a ginormous market that could still be potentially not really considered a contender. But he chose Calgary, and he makes your team that much more attractive and desirable. And I think that the expectations are high, but they're not unrealistic. I don't think that it's unrealistic to want to finish, second or third in the division. Obviously, you're going to want to avoid Vegas in the postseason, but, the chips are going to fall where they need to. And this team is just so special. And I want them to decide whether they're going to go after a Reilly Smith from Vegas. He still generates those shots. He's still shooting the puck. He can still score. Or if they're going to go after someone maybe a little long term. Reilly Smith still has 2 this year and next year on his contract. What's next? What is next for this team? And we're going to talk about that next, talking about those expectations for the postseason and why they're not unrealistic. But first, let's talk about BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered for all of your sports betting needs. They are a fantastic website that has more odds, props, and bets than ever. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for you to get your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's not just football. BetOnline has the minute-to-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline, where the game begins. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you're subscribed on YouTube so you never miss a beat. Like I mentioned before, the expectations are high. And I've talked all about managing those expectations and how you can't expect this team to go out there and win the Stanley Cup, win the division, all of that. Like, that's just not realistic. That's not something that you can, I can confidently say will happen. I can confidently say this team will make the playoffs. Yes. But we got to reel it in a little bit. The Flames are going to beat out Anaheim and Los Angeles, especially with those 5 games in hand. They still have all those games to make up, and, they're filtered in throughout the rest of the season. And Anaheim and LA, no shade to them, but the hockey they're playing isn't sustainable. Vegas, especially when they get Jack Eichel, we're just gonna not think about them. They're out of the picture and the equation. But, if you think about this team, we're going to put them back in the equation for a second. If you think about this team compared to when Vegas first came into the league, the identity is entirely different. This team is so much stronger. They actually have goaltenders. They have a coach who knows what he's doing, a coach that's won, a coach that believes in his players and has players who believe in him. And there's so much, like, the bigger picture here is not just this season. You look back to when the Flames, like what I said, when Vegas entered the league, this team was entirely different. Look at this now, like 5 years later, which is insane to think about. But they are stronger. They have an identity. They're fit, they're in shape. They don't have a captain, but they have plenty of voices in that room that lead them. And the bigger picture, again, it doesn't just stop here. You have to look beyond this season, and the Flames organization has to look at that. I don't think that you're going to go out there and tell everyone that, oh yeah, I'm a true cup contender this year. I think that we're going to make it to the conference finals. Sure, manifest that if you want, but I just don't think that's realistic. Make it out of the first round. I'm talking baby steps here. And you know what? If you want to make it out of the second round, sure. Compete in the second round. That's the biggest thing. You can make it out of the first round by the skin of your teeth, just like Montreal did, and then crap yourself and lose in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's that easy. But what you have to consider is competing. They have this horrible habit, the Flames, of winning one game and then nothing else. They'll win one game and then they lose the next 4. And I don't think that we're going to get that from them this postseason. I think that they truly are competitive. And we'll have to see how, obviously, the second half of the season matches up compared to their opponents and whatnot. But based on what they gave us, I am not shying away from the idea that this team can compete in a second round. I think that is absolutely possible. And if you want to, you can say, you know what, guys, just make it out of the first round. We'll be happy if you win the second. But if you don't, you don't have to make it to the conference finals. It's going to be okay. What you need to do is make sure that your team is attractive. And you start saying, okay, players want to come here. They want to come here. They wanted to go to the Islanders for a little bit, Oh, players wanted to go to Boston. Players wanted to go to Tampa. Players wanted to go to Colorado. Okay. Players are going to want to come to Calgary if you can lock up Gaudreau and Tkachuk. You're probably going to become a bit more legit when you do things like that and start winning playoff games and playoff rounds. So why don't you go out there and do it? Show everyone that this small underdog from Alberta can do it. This is the thing. Certain teams run with this narrative that they're underdogs and they're really not. The Flames are absolutely an underdog. And I love nothing more than a good underdog story. And this will be your underdog story. These will be your underdogs for the 2021-22 playoffs. Your Flames are your underdogs. That's that. You got your narrative. You got your headlines. Let the Flames write the rest of your pieces for you. It's that simple, babies. Thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Flames. We are going to have a game day preview tomorrow since the Flames are playing Vegas, probably for the last time without Jack Eichel, since he's in a regular jersey practicing now. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at JustBelmosto. I'm trying to point to it on screen. And make sure you're following this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And it's free. There's no reason for you to be tuning in and not be subscribed. We are your only daily Calgary Flames podcast, and we like to have a good time here. We're going to start selling the underdog narrative. We're going to do it. So thank you again so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.